Brother Yao's poem City can be found in the new issue of Smartish Taste that you have. It was selected as a finalist for this past year's Erskine Day Poetry Prize. Brother Yao is the co-owner of Caribou Books and a professor at Bowie State University. And this list is probably a little dated now, I apologize, but you can find his new poems in numerous places, including Crab Orchard Review and the African American Review and others which I don't have in front of me. I had the pleasure of first hearing Brother Yao read, I guess it was about 4 years ago at Micah, and really enjoyed his reading then and been looking forward to hearing him read tonight. With that, I give you tonight's second poet, Brother Yao.
How's everybody doing? Good. Okay. First poem I'm going to read is a relatively new piece called Rise and Fall. The world of the men was glamour. They cursed and loud talked late into the night, dreamed with their mouths. Sometimes you get real quiet and they ain't talking shit no more. They talking their hearts smushed into some abandoned house, smashed under some bed mattress, up under the piss-stained sheets of weapons used against them, and fire red hot pushed up against a black man's testicles. They whisper like the white man is in the room and don't want their mother to see, for fear she will be angry and cast a shadow that will block the little bit of sun shining on their face. And then, up out of that dark night, eclipsed and dirge of black toilet paper wet and stuck against all the big houses of the South, their voices climb the hill again, head to hallelujah, and jump the way they did as boys when the radio told them that Joe Louis was winning, or Willie Mays hit that home. Someone takes a piece of candy out of their pocket and their tongue is suddenly in Sugarland. All they can do is smile. It's a poem called Shoeshiner's Inheritance. I willed shame to my children to set them free. Shotgun in my mouth, tears I never cried. Where I come from, black shine shoes on a pedestal, spit and the crack of the rag. My black hands glossed leather's face, men stared down on the back of my neck. Boy and nigger spoken, cloaked crimes, the stain I now give my sons, to sing this shame with their soft hands, signing papers, opening books. What I took from the sky with my head to the ground. What I hand down, they will never disguise. Stones I carry, stories I weave, half history, half disease. When I look them in the eye, it is the casket of men swimming under the river I finally breathe. Just to give you a little information on that poem, most or many African American men who grew up in the South, say before 1960, one of the ways they made their living was shining shoes. And my father used to always talk about how he shined shoes in his first job. He grew up in a place called Waynesboro, Georgia. He gave the money to his mother. But that legacy of him telling me about shining shoes and what it meant to make his living that way, or to make that money for his family is what that poem comes out of. And I guess a lot of my work is centered around two things. I own a business, Caribou Books, which is We have about 6 stores. We've been in business for about 14 years now. We started a business with $500 as vendors on the streets of Washington, D.C. We built a pretty decent corporation. But one of the things that business has taught me, my business corresponds with the birth of my first child. And being in business and building a family and a business at the same time, you know, you're doing something that you want to do for your family, but then at the same time, you can't be with your family. It's about working 60, 70-hour weeks, and I did that for at least 10 years straight. You know, didn't get a lot of sleep, stayed up late at night, but at the same time, my children were growing up, so there's sort of pain and anguish in that. So I write a lot about family. The other thing is my father passed maybe about 2 years into the business, and so didn't take the time to mourn. So, you know, part of what I do is go back and deal with his memory through poems. This is another poem. It's a new poem, so you know it's a work in progress. You die 1,000 tiny deaths, take 1,000 tiny breaths. Sleep in the night, can't get no rest. Got a devil riding on your chest. Life is raw like chains on brains, and knees that hurt, and bloody shirts. Work that needs to be worked. Saturday night joy from 9 to 5 pain. Come Sunday when we beat our drum. Come Sunday when the voice is raised. Come Sunday when the heart is spun like terrible anger, like an instrument played. You die 1,000 tiny deaths, take 1,000 tiny breaths, sleep in the night, can't get no rest, got a devil riding on your chest. What happened to the ball in the street? What happened to the ice cream on your chin? What happened to the grass on your bare feet? What happened to the world without sin? Where pain blows its breath hot like fire, and weapons sink into the forge, where you could play all day, never tire, where the world was music without score. Empty buildings with ghosts in their windows, heads dangle in the night like neon signs. At home, the mothers' heads propped on pillows, sons on a rampage with gasoline on their mind. Who started the fire that never stops burning? Who started the fire that makes the door handle hot? Who started the fire that comes from worming from Monday to Friday, 8 to 5, the same spot? Like that giant auction block where naked bodies stood oiled down in the sun, waiting to be brought like a keg of molasses or a glass of rum. Rowdy masters of chaos we remember who taught the mass celebration in December when the slave gets drunk out of his mind. For then at the crux of the son's death, he dines with history, paves the way for mystery, pure emotion, fires lust, that runs through his brain's wires like sand, like dust, 1,000 tiny grains in one hand, 1,000 tiny names forgotten. You die 1,000 tiny deaths, you take 1,000 tiny breaths, sleep in the night, can't get no rest, you got a devil riding on your chest. And I don't know if you guys are in African American culture, there's another thing they talk about, a devil riding on your chest. You guys may have felt the feeling like sometimes you get up in the morning and your chest will be real heavy. You feel like you're like in this slumber, or you know, this mid-place between sleep and being awake, and you feel like you can't get up. And you know, there's an old saying that, you know, when that happens, you got a devil riding your chest. Go ahead and read the poem that was published in the Smartish Pace, City. Sleeping machines hoisted above the buildings, the long neck of cranes, iron, thread of wrecking balls, hang from the skeletons of developments. Soon there will be flesh, walls and people. Soon day will come. A fleet of men in yellow and orange hats will climb into the sky to stitch, paste, and weld. People below will stop and stare, Over their heads, the crude magic of industry. Noise will rain down, and under the canopy of scaffolding, the beggar will place himself, a question mark, in the morning with his paper cup and stone eyes. And then I'll read one more piece. This is a poem for my wife, for Carla. These dim nights I write to you as though you were miles away in someone else's day, with shoes too small for your feet. And when I come home, you are resting upon the bed of desire. It is always cold outside. We are trapped in winter with muted horns, singing our sorrow. And then the children came, climbing onto our backs with their basket of smiles, throwing them out to the world, petals and flowers and music. Your feet were forgotten in the festival that is work, that is every day, that is mask and sunshine, bitter sometimes, ugly, but always truth. This is for your feet, so small and lonely against the ground, covered with dust and sinking. I bend down to kiss them with this poem, to cup them in my hands and give them rest. Thank you.